Hey guys, Chicky Domain, Deboo.com with a Deboo.com forecast update. This forecast update effective around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, August 26, 2018. And want to start off by welcoming new followers on our social media feeds. This time of year, as we get towards the peak of the hurricane season, we start to pick up a lot of new followers wanting to know what the next chances of tropical cyclone development are. For those new followers, we are primarily a surf and maritime forecast website covering the North Atlantic waters, but we'd like to tell people you don't have to be a surfer or a mariner to follow our forecast, because during hurricane season, we forecast for possible tropical cyclone development. I bring this up because if you're not a surfer or a mariner, sometimes when we get into real-time phase of tracking possible tropical systems, a lot of people that don't surf or have a boat think that we start to hype, but what we're looking for is winds that increase surf and or increase seas, and a lot of times that involves tropical cyclone development. I want to start you off here over Florida in the Bahamas and over Cuba, so you can start to understand flow and what we look at. Okay, so although this image is still, put it in motion into your mind, and the flow is like this. This is an upper level system that's in here, upper level low, and the front died out, so we've got an upper level trough or a decaying trough draped over Florida. There's a remnants here in the Gulf of Mexico, a little remnant low that was right on here off the northeast Florida coast. That's what kicked the winds northeast the other day and gave us a little bump in swell. But this starts to give us an indication of what the future pattern or the future forecast may uphold. So we're watching a system coming out of the main development region, the northern extension of a tropical wave, and we're looking for that to break off the main wave axis as the wave moves towards the western Caribbean. So we like to start out here where the end result may end up taking place, and then focus on the system coming out of the main development region. So if you were to put this into motion here, and we'll put it into motion for you in just a few moments, there's a little cyclonic spin that's down in here south of Puerto Rico. And for longtime followers, we talk about how sometimes vorticity spin can get in here, slip up through Mona Passage, and then over into the Bahamas. This pattern right here that is set up is indicative of that. We'll show you that in the latest run of the European model. But again, we've got counterclockwise rotation in here, and this is in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Now, mind you, this is going to clear out. But once it clears out, it opens up the door for that system that's coming out of the main development region to get in here like this. The northern extension gets sucked up through Mona Passage, and then get a chance at homegrown development in here coming into South Florida. Now, right now, the European model is just showing weak low pressure moving into the Gulf of Mexico through the Florida Straits, and you can already see the trajectory is already set up for it. Going to switch you over to the infrared now, and again, this image is still, but the atmosphere is fluid, so when I put it into motion for you, this is what you're going to be watching for, is the cyclonic spin that's in here. There's a little bit in here in the Gulf of Mexico, and again, this begins to set up, going back to where the actual energy is going to be coming from. So this is going to be moving into the East Caribbean, and then we'll look for that spin to develop in here south of Puerto Rico, and then lift in here. There's lots of little vorticity spins and lots of things that influence future tracks of possible tropical cyclones or areas of low pressure that are moving towards the United States. That's the key now. And the trajectory all the way coming over from Africa into southwest Atlantic waters tells us that this is an increasing chances of tropical cyclone development. Now, I can't tell you if something's going to develop. I can just tell you that the pattern is ripe for it at the moment. Okay, switch you to the infrared loop now. So here we go into motion. Here's this spin in the Gulf of Mexico. Notice how that's moving off towards the west there. There's this upper level low that's right in here. You can see the counterclockwise rotation with it. Now the jet stream flow is from the southwest to the northeast in here. Okay, but we've got easterly flow from high pressure setting up out here. And high pressure is likely going to set up right in here. And whenever we get high pressure up in here, it's always look out below. Always, rule of thumb. So look back towards Africa. Now, here's this first little vorticity spin tropical wave that moved off Africa about 2 to 3 days ago. National Hurricane Center put 10 to 20% chance of development and then dropped it. But the key indicator in their message was that once this system gets past the 50 long line, this is the 50 long line right in here. So for long-time followers, we'll tell you that we always talk about watching tropical waves moving towards the west and then getting into a better chance or a better environment where they can try and spin up once they get past the 50 long line. Why is that 50 long line important? Is because this is where Sal is located. So it can't breathe right now. And so here's this northern extension that we're watching right in here. And then here's the vorticity spin here. But I can't, I'll change it up here in another loop here. But look, there's another strong wave moving off Africa right now. And you can see the trajectory. If I was to draw a line through here, because we've got two little vorticity spins, one here, and then that upper level low in here, and then this easterly flow. So these two vorticity spins are now in the Atlantic arena, and then we'll switch you over to last night's run of the European model. Okay, so this is last night's run of the European model, and this is for current. Right now, we've got that area that's in the main development region. That's right there. There's another strong tropical wave moving off Africa. Again, the flow, because of high pressure, is clockwise in here. So the high pressure ridge is starting to develop, and these two systems are traveling underneath that ridge, and they're coming this way. I'm going to put this into motion for you. So this is 48 hours. This is 72 hours going into Wednesday, and there's the feature right there lifting through the Leeward Islands into Puerto Rico right there. And then look at the second wave behind. Notice how it starts to wrap up. Going into Friday, this weekend, possible surf alert starting to set up here, guys. Okay? Not a lot of confidence at the moment, but again, like we said the other day, we're starting to dial it in for you. Possible surf alert coming. Here is going into day 6 and day 7, which is next weekend. Now look, through the Florida Straits, as you know, we've been posting on our social feeds, weak low pressure moving through the Florida Straits and into the Gulf of Mexico. The European model has been very consistent on this. Now this is inside of 8 days, but look to the northeast of the Bahamas, and then look to the northeast of the Leewards, and then now down in here, here comes a true Cape Verde system. Okay, and this one worries me just a little bit because the European model is starting to drop hints that this one might be a little monstrous. Okay, I'm not trying to hype, guys. I'm just trying to show you what the model is showing us and what we already see in the atmosphere. Okay, so this is going into day 8. Going into day 9, and then going into day 10. Now, the good part here is if you look at the last 3 frames on the European model, notice there's that northern lift. Okay, so that tells us maybe that one might be a fish storm or trying to set up for a fish storm. Because you see how the first one, which this one could become Florence on the backside of Bermuda, and then this one would be Gordon if everything panned out here. But if you'll notice right at the last 3 frames, notice that northern lift in here. Okay, so, but that's also could be a bad sign because this could lift and get some latitude in here, and without going out too far, high pressure could come back in here and rebuild when the system gets here and then push it to the U.S. Guys, that's all we got for you for now. We're going to be stepping up our updates. We'll give you a text update on Debut.com. That's our website. Just to let you know how that works, we post all of our real-time stuff on our social feeds, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And as we start to gain confidence in what we see, we'll transfer over our thoughts and ideas over to our website, Debut.com, and provide you with a video forecast update just like we're doing now. Pay attention. We said we started this video at around 10 a.m. We're finishing up at 10:15. Sorry for being long-winded, but it's going to take some time for this video to get loaded up to YouTube. So always check your dates and timestamps, especially when looking at real-time imagery. And don't reshare something that's 48 hours old that is already proven to be incorrect. Always check dates and timestamps. Thanks for following.